everyone, we have with us the current Australian captain and New Balance ambassador, Pat Cummins. Pat, welcome to the show. You won the World Test Championship, the ODI World Cup, the Ashes in the past season. So first, congratulations on a fabulous season that you've had. Of the string of successes that you've had, which has been your most favourite?
Yeah, it was a wonderful year last year. Everything seemed to go right on the cricket field, but I think can't go past the ODI World Cup. I mean, it only happens once every 4 years. To play in a World Cup's amazing. To reach a final in India in front of a huge Ahmedabad stadium, I don't think we'll ever be that moment. So that's a career highlight for me.
Since you brought that up, let's talk about the World Cup final here.
Happy to.
You were playing India in India. You have the home crowd. You knew that they would be cheering against you. India was coming into the final with a 10-match winning streak. So basically, the odds were stacked against you in every which way. When you approach such a match in such a situation, what sort of conversations do you have as a team to overcome the mental hurdle of taking these on?
I think you can tell yourself any story. I mean, it's going to be a huge match. It's going to be one that you're going to remember for the rest of your career. You're going to look back at forever. So I think you can get caught up in the moment, or else you can see it as an opportunity where you can go out and try and perform. It's a game of cricket. We've played thousands of them before, so that part of it's really familiar. So you try and keep it as familiar as possible, and just know that there's going to be nerves. So how do you deal with that? So we took the angle of let's embrace that. Let's try and make sure we have no regrets. Let's play with complete freedom and. Just look back in this day in 10 years' time, not wishing that you played a bit more aggressive or you tried something different. Let's actually go out and do that. And if it's not good enough against a really good Indian side, that's okay. We can live with that. But at least we gave it our best chance.
So you're one of the most successful cricket captains in the world now. But it's not just about the trophies that you've won for Australia. What's being talked about is how you bring out the best in your players. Travis Head, for instance, who's giving sleepless nights to bowlers now, has been talking about how you gave him the gumption of playing fearlessly, without having to look over his shoulders and wonder, will my place be safe? So tell us a bit about your style of leadership. How have you fashioned it? And is there someone you look up to as a leader from whom you've taken your style of leadership?
I wouldn't say one person in particular. I think there's lots of people that I've kind of looked up to in the past or have learnt off in the past. I've been playing for Australia, I think it's my 13th or 14th season, so I had lots of different captains and leaders along the way that you learn things off. And I think, that's really helped me when I was a 20-year-old. If I was ever in that position, I'd like to kind of bring that to the role. So definitely people I've learned off. I think, I'm always at my best, and I remember when I was really young, I was at my best when felt like I was backed and supported by the coaches and the senior players, and kind of supported to be my own player. That's why you picked. Don't try and be anyone different, and that's what we try and instill in our players is we don't care how it looks. You're a great batter. You score runs. Don't worry about playing a certain way. You do it your way, and just go out with complete confidence. As long as you're committing to that style. If it doesn't work, that's fine.
You were growing up as a cricketer. Who were the captains that you were looking up to?
Early 2000s, when I started watching, the Aussie cricket team was amazing. Steve Waugh was captain, had basically a whole team full of greats. And then into Ricky Ponting, and then I played a little bit with Ricky, but Michael Clarke was my first captain. But it's not only just the captain, the senior guys. When I first started playing, I had Shane Watson, Mike Hussey, Brad Haddon. These guys are kind of legends of Australian cricket, and I learned so much and felt really welcome from those guys from the first time I walked in the change room.
The world has seen far more batter captains than bowling captains, and I don't know if easy is the right word, but perhaps the batter captains had a little easier than bowling captains, because I remember in an interview Ricky Ponting had once told us that when I walk into bat, I'm not the captain, I'm only the number 3 batter. Whereas a bowler captain, you've got to strategize your own bowling as well as marshal the resources on the field. How do you straddle the two responsibilities, and does one inform the other?
Oh, look, I think that gets spoken about a lot, how the extra responsibility of captaining can affect bowling out in the field. But I think there's a lot more positives to also being a bowling captain. You know, we spend our life as bowlers trying to work out how to take wickets, and that's mainly your biggest role out in the field as a captain, is how to try and find wickets, how to navigate through different batters and different conditions. And you know, I've felt with my experience anyway, you know, being able to talk to fellow bowlers, coming from a place of someone who's actually bowled on that same wicket to those same batters, it feels like we can work really well as a unit. So yeah, no doubt there's some times where it's 40 degrees and you just want to bowl and switch off, but it's very rare that that happens. The rest of the time feels like, you know, maybe as a bowler I can add some value.
What you've done with your performances, every time you stepped out on the field, everyone knows that your Pat Cummins is going to get everything right. So how do you balance or how do you deal with this sort of sky-high expectations?
Yeah, I don't know if that always happens, but you know, first of all, I think an amazing team around us, and that's not just players, that's coaches as well. I'm never out there making decisions by myself. I've got, you know, the coaches and the other players, senior leaders who I lean on are awesome. So if anything, if I get any call right, it's probably come from one of those guys who have made me look better than I am. But you know, with professional cricketers, there's always going to be expectations, no matter where we play, you know, what stage of a tournament it's at, how the team's going. There's always expectations, so you just learn to deal with it. Again, you come back to trying to do what makes you a good cricketer, give it your best chance, and you know, as long as you do that, you can kind of handle anything that comes your way.
Like when you're playing for Australia, when you're playing for Sunrisers Hyderabad, this is a team you're with for a very short period of time, maybe a month and a half, 2 months at best. Within this short time, how do you turn these cricketers, this team, into a winning or cohesive unit?
I think, you know, it's a little bit different because you don't have that long, yeah, I guess, you know, years of rapport that you've built up. But you know, we want everyone to buy into a certain style of how we want to play. So that's what we talk about. Here's how we want to play. This is the style, and this is kind of you as an individual. This is how you fit into this style. And we'll be quite, you know, we'll be quite honest of how we want you to play. But outside of that, go and do it your own way. So, you know, try and create a lot of freedom for, especially the young players. You know, IPL is the biggest stage that a lot of these guys have played on. Huge pressure. So we just try and strip that away and just have some fun. Go and express yourself. We're not worried about if you're going to fail because it's T20 cricket. Not everything's always going to go right. So just go out, have a crack, have fun, and just buy into the style that the team wants to.
The shortest format of the game, you know, the T20 cricket has sort of tilted the balance in favour of the batters. You're a frontline international bowler yourself. How do the bowlers pull themselves back into the game?
It gets harder and harder. You know, I think with the scores getting a lot bigger, you can have some games where it's quite brutal for you as a bowler. You've got to really pick yourself up and bounce back quickly. But it also does present some opportunities where, you know, you might bowl an over at the end where the team needs 15 runs and over. If you bowl an over that goes for 7 or 8, suddenly that's not just an average over, that's a match-winning over. So I think you've got to reframe it and see each over and each ball as an opportunity to try and make a difference, even if it does feel like the odds are stacked up against you. So.
You're a bowler yourself, and when you're dealing with another bowler in the 19th or 20th over of the match, is there a certain advice that you'll give out to him?
I think most of the time it comes back to what makes them a really good bowler. You know, if they're bowling the 19th or 20th over, it's because they're a really good death bowler, and it might be, you know, Yorkers or slower balls or good field placements, or those things might be their strengths. Just reminding them of what makes them a really good, you know, bowler. And it's T20 cricket. It's not going to come off every time, but you know, percentages wise, as long as you're doing what makes you a really good bowler, it's giving yourself the best chance.
So one of the things being talked about in the IPL is the impact sub rule. Some say that it makes the game exciting. Some others have said that you know, it's sort of ruining the chances for all-rounders. Which side of the debate are you on?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I understand the debate. It's funny with you know, Sunrisers, we actually have quite a few all-rounders in the team. So I think the impact rule is kind of a nice to have, but for us it's actually we don't have a lot of conversations around it because we've already got Natish and Shabazz and these guys, that can bowl some overs for us. So we feel like we got all bases covered. So I don't know, obviously the scores have gone up, which as a bowler is annoying, but sometimes as a captain, knowing that we've able to kind of pick 5 frontline bowlers is also not a bad thing as well. So I'm going to stay on the fence on that one.
The IPL, sort of a stage rehearsal for the T20 World Cup that's coming up. Are there a certain group of young players that have caught your eye? You think they can do well in the T20 World Cup?
I mean, potentially. I know everyone's picked their squads now, I think, so it doesn't really matter. But a couple of young guys I hadn't seen a lot of before. Someone like Abhishek Sharma is fantastic, opening batting with Trav Head. From the Australian front, you've obviously got someone like Jake Fraser-McGurk, who's had a great last 12 months and performing over here. So it's, IPL's as tough a tournament as you're going to get, even comparing it to a World Cup. So if you perform well, it puts you in good stead for a World Cup.
And aside from cricket, you've passionately spoken about climate change. You spearhead this organisation called Cricket for Climate, which is looking to make the sport a carbon neutral sport in some time. Can you tell us what drew you to this cause and how do you want to advocate for this in future?
I mean, first of all, we play in summer, so it's always super hot, especially here in India, but the same back in Australia. We're right on the precipice of, if it's too hot, it's really hard to play. If it's too cold or it rains too much, it's really hard to make a cricket wicket or you can't play at all. So, I think more than any other sport, we really feel the climate. Just knowing that I've got a 2-year-old son, what his future looks like, and being in a position where I hopefully can make a little bit of difference. That's really the main genesis of Cricket for Climate. So it's not only about climate, we also put some money back into grassroots cricket clubs that helps more kids be able to play cricket as well, but hopefully make a bit of a difference.
And you're the brand ambassador for New Balance. So how does the brand fit into your notions of excellence?
I've been with New Balance now since 2011, I think it was. So that's close to 14 years, and they've been a game changer for me. Bowling boots is our biggest tool as a fast bowler. I'm really particular about my fast bowling boots, and just their attention to detail, their excellence they put into everything they do. I've flown over to Boston to work with their team to really handcraft the bowling boots to exactly my specifications. So they're just an incredible brand. They're getting stronger and stronger, and me as an athlete, they just bend over backwards to make sure I've got everything I need.
Okay, Pat, I think that's all I have from my end. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Cheers.